We've reached the last game published by Bulletproof Software on the Famicom. They didn't publish a lot on the system, but they're the ones who got Tetris, and so their place in gaming history is assured. Spot is an interesting choice for their final game, since it kind of harkens back to their first. If you took Reversi, added a dash of Go, and then made it 4-player, you'd have Spot the video game. But for that extra little something, you'd combine that with a popular soda mascot. The Spot of the title is the 7-Up Spot, sometimes called the Cool Spot, probably after he got sunglasses. In a series of commercials throughout the 80s and 90s, the Spot on a 7-Up product would come to life and get in some hijinks that would make you thirsty for a lemon-lime soda. The game Spot was originally something titled Infection, but after developing a prototype game under that title, it was sold off a few times and turned into the arcade game Attacks. That's A-T-A-X-X, not A-T-T-A-C-K. Meanwhile, for console and computer releases, the 7-Up license was added, and that's how we got Spot. Before you even start playing, you're going to want to go to the options and set up other players. By default, it's only a 2-player game, but if you highlight the blank spots and hit B, you can add other players. You have to rotate through the options for those players with A, though. There are 4 levels of difficulty for the computer opponents. Now we'll get into the game, and this is one that has some very simple rules that lead to a lot of depth. Every player starts with 1 piece in a corner. On your turn, you may do one of 2 things. Grow a piece to a neighboring square, or pick up a piece and put it down, skipping over 1 square. The movement of pieces can be done orthogonally or diagonally, which means that moves like chess knights are possible when you're picking up and putting down one of your pieces. Whatever unoccupied square you wind up in, all of the pieces that are already there around it become your color. So if you can pick up a piece and land it in an empty square completely surrounded by opposing pieces, then all of those become yours. If you have no valid moves, then you skip your turn, and the game ends when the playfield is completely full, and thus there are no more moves available. Whoever has the most pieces on the board when the game ends, wins. So this is a very simple game, but there's a lot of strategy that only reveals itself once you really start digging into it. Every time you play a move, you get an animation of the Spot doing something. And you'll have seen all of these before you finish your first game. That means they quickly become annoying rather than amusing, although I don't think they were very amusing to begin with. If you win a game, then it turns the AI up to the next hardest difficulty, and you start again. There's also a board edit mode, and that's really a bit of a misnomer. While you can edit the board, what you're doing is setting spaces to be playable or not. And rather than design your own boards, you can hit the B button to cycle through several dozen alternate boards. So there's actually a lot of content here. It's just kind of hidden where you wouldn't expect it. Unfortunately, Spot has one major problem. And it's a big one. The AI in Spot doesn't know how to play Spot. With no real experience in the game, I proceeded to steamroll the first 3 difficulty levels of the AI. And in the case of the 4th level, I think it's just that it became more aggressive, not that it was playing any better. Looking at the moves it plays, I strongly suspect that the AI isn't even looking 1 move ahead here. Even on level 4, it'll do things like jump a piece so it can capture 3, leaving a big hole so that you can capture 8. The AI is just completely brain dead here, but at least you can play with 4 human players. I think that's really the only way that you're going to have an interesting match. This is another one of those games that nobody remembers in Japan, though the one and only person I could find who played it said that they liked how it worked, and that they didn't know who the animated figure was. There's a really solid little abstract board game buried in Spot, the kind of thing that makes a good 10-minute time filler. The big problem is that the animations get annoying fast, and you don't have a decent AI to play against. Also, why is the first player yellow instead of red? You'd think that would be an obvious thing to do.